I'm inviting you to jump to that point of view of consciousness, of creator. Look at humanity and creation in all sorts of a different way. That it's been somewhat consciously created and somewhat, well, let's give the raw ingredients and then let's see what these beings come up with. Free will, exciting, uh, and let's intervene here and there sometimes. And why we would and wouldn't, or why God or power, gods of life would or wouldn't, why consciousness would intervene. And wouldn't we answer ourselves in that way? And maybe we, when the victim wants to reach out and say, consciousness, really give me all this, we're like, well, no, because I don't want to empower and make your victim stronger. That's really going to actually hurt your integrity if I give it what it wants. You're going to listen to it more and do more of what it demands because it's not aligned with truth. So I'm not going to say yes to it. So, and I'll give you another scenario here of a way to look at humanity, and part of this is, we see what's happening. We see what's happening with Ukraine. We see what's happening in the Palestinian situation in Israel. You see suffering. You're like, this is senseless. Okay, with all our supposed advanced society and intelligence, this is what we're doing. Human beings are just killing each other, human beings, and maiming each other. This is um but to see it perhaps from different points of view, shift the assemblage point to someplace else to get a completely different interpretation. And I'll give you a story that maybe you can start to imagine. And it fits with something that kind of all of you have pointed to in this exercise. You're an all-powerful being. I'm going to say you, creator, all-powerful being. You can create, dissolve universes, you know, a whole population of species. Okay, so well, let's see what they'll do. And they're part of your creation. They have your consciousness. They have power. But they don't have wisdom and awareness, it seems, that they need to grow. And this is in that story of the Bible and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and there's a snake in the tree and there's a fruit in that tree, and it's like everything's fine and hunky-dory until Adam and Eve and go eat the fruit. And what happens is that they're tempted to say, before they ate the fruit, they were like children, naive and playing, but joyful. But the snake tempted them and said, do you want to know what it is to be like God? Which is a tricky lie to begin with, because it's implying you're not. You're not. It's not saying it, but it's implied. And so by considering the question, they're imagining that they're not. So then, of course, I'm not, then gosh, I would want to be. So we take the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil, and knowledge of good and evil is we can now divide up and label, oh, this is bad, this is good, this is right, this is wrong. And we can label, separate, and reject. Well, these are good people, these are bad people. These are moral people, these are immoral people. These people deserve to live, these people deserve to die. This is the knowledge to divide human against human. And now we're in these dreams, living under these stories, playing attack and defend, right? And why would a all-powerful, all-knowing human deity, universe creator, play that game in a video? Why would we play a video game? Because it's fun. We're not really, from that point of view, not hurting anybody. But it's fun to go lose ourselves in a role the same as an improv actor plays, or we go get dressed up at Halloween. But this is much bigger. From that point of view of the infinite, like humans don't really die. They just get converted to another something else. Like when I eat broccoli, the broccoli isn't really die, it's just converted to something else. It's used as energy. It's burned up in calories and muscles. Everything's just transformed into something else. That's what the whole universe is doing. So in that point of view, nothing dies. So as humans, kill each other off. It's like, oh, they'll just be, that energy is used to create something else. I'm inviting you to a point of view that's outside judgment and victimization, okay? That's outside of labeling things as good and evil. And so God, infinite creator, has played this game in the realm of all knowing and said, let's go do this dance with human stuff, play dress up, put on these roles. Of course, we have to do this trick where we forget this consciousness. We have to do the pretend so well that we lose track of this consciousness. It's always there, always available in our pretend, but we have to put our attention on it, seek the connection with it. Oh, and then once we're there and we're playing that game and we've divided it all up, we have the fun part of rediscovering our infinite self. We have the fun part of connecting with other people, growing out of our fear, our judgments, our limiting perceptions and paradigms, shifting our perceptions, seeing ourselves awaken, connecting with our greater consciousness. We get the fun part of connecting with others in this greater consciousness, which is all just really ourself anyways. And we go on this fun adventure of reconnecting with our whole consciousness and being our whole self again. Call it the kind of divine hide and seek that we're playing in this awakening. Because when you're infinite all knowing, just hanging out there, it's kind of boring. And so there is this, let's take our infinite self, divide it up amongst interplanetary, stellar, cosmic galaxies and some human stuffs, and let's see if it can find its way back and reintegrate and become whole again. And in the meanwhile, all of this that we've created, that's just been matter and unconscious, it will become awakened and aware of itself as divine as it grows in awareness. And then what would that be like to have a self-aware divine consciousness species or planet or earth? Let's see. Oh, and we'll have some fun adventures pretending that we're powerless and weak and, fearful and small in the meantime. That'll be so different than being infinite and powerful. And in the waking up process, we'll realize, be aware what, even what that snake offered, you'll know what it is to be God. But you'll know from a point of viewing of, you'll also know with awareness of experience, the kind of wisdom, you'll know it in a way that's deeply understood because you've experienced what it is to feel small and weak and powerless by comparison. And in that way, you'll really know the consciousness of what it is to be integrated and connected with divine consciousness. Only by knowing what's not that.
There's a small journey ahead.
It could happen today. It could happen any moment. Oh, by the way, you know, this fits, I was going to say, reach out to that higher expanded consciousness that would be all loving, that would show up to support, not to support the victim part, the judgmental part, or the angry part about what it wants, to support the larger integrity and say, I want to reach out to that part and say, I want help. And that larger consciousness of yourself is the larger consciousness of the universe. And you go, I want help for whatever you want. Create new dream and new, the discipline to play more guitar or practice, or to be happier, to let go of fears and judgments. It's like, do I want help that? Yes, I want help with that. Guide me. Put it in front of me. Make it obvious so I can't miss it. Help me activate my will so I'm continually taking action in the direction I want and is aligned with my integrity. It's not weak to ask for help. It's smart because you're asking yourself, you're asking the master who created the game. And what I was sharing in Mexico was the things to ask for, particularly in the beginning, to get out of your fears, to get out of your lies, to get out of judgments, to be free of fear, to be free of judgments.
And you said to love yourself and accept yourself and others unconditionally.
Love yourself and love others, love the world unconditionally. Let go of fears, let go of judgments, love unconditionally. Those three things. They'll most likely happen in that order. So you know what's in front of you first. The perspective that I hope is practical in this is, well, A, free your mind and get out of the box. Move your assemblage point to perceive the world differently. Because that new point of view, you'll have a completely different type of story, say, about what's going on in the world, about why people are suffering, or about is there a God, not a God, and why would she intervene in some cases and not others? That's a helpful, it's like, if I was God, what would I do? Why? Should we all see the movie Bruce Almighty for homework?
Is that on Netflix?
Probably. I don't know where it is.
Yeah.
Jim Jim Carrey. Or when I when it was like 30 years ago, George Burns had a movie called Oh God. That's probably got a similar message. It's through adopting these different points of view about creator and the world and narrative stories that I let go a lot of judgments, that I let go of my assumptions of how the world is or how I thought it should be or supposed to be. I let go of stories that fixated my point of view. Um, that I put aside my self-importance, that I knew how humans should behave and how they shouldn't behave and what we were all here to do and how they should have all fit my regimented order and morality. Uh, and that probably um, whatever whatever kind of creator had the knowledge to put together gravity and nuclear forces and emotions and get this human to get a trillion cells working together and to grow trees probably has a different idea of the universe and the direction things are going better than, whatever story I come up with. So that was a helpful bit of humility for me to put aside my self-importance, which generally just had me judging people and not seeing that maybe there's a whole divine consciousness at play behind it all for other reasons. Even if it's some of it's just to have fun adventure, that would be okay too. So, and if you read the, certain masters and sages talk about it, they'll talk about it this way as this kind of divine cosmic joke we're playing. So hopefully you have this perspective when you see the horrific things on the news. Yeah, you might have in your victim reaction, your anger reaction, maybe your compassion response, maybe also a divine point of view that goes, there's this version of the world that's playing out possibly also. We're dressed up in our avatar suits and playing the game and pretend. I just happen to get tired of the game and so it's like, give me an exit. Let's get on to that version that Primos was describing, like, let's see what we can do. Let's see what kind of world we create if we work together. Let's get on to that version of the video game where it's like cooperative creation with love and kindness. Let's see what's possible. So that's what I'm thinking. Not everybody's ready to go play at that level of the game board. That's okay. Questions? Comments?